Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the fucking podcast. So today I am actually off work and sitting alone at my apartment, alone in my room. Well, with my cat, with my new cat. So everyone, welcome Prince William to the family. He is precious as can be. If you follow my Instagram, you probably saw him on my story. But anyway, I'm just sitting here chilling today, and I thought I'd just do a podcast me to you guys because I feel like I've done a lot of guest stuff lately. And yeah, I think it's kind of good to just brain vomit on here if that's your thing. Like, I just love to be like, this is what I'm stressed out about lately. This is what's on my mind. And then see if you guys have any interest in the topic line. So today, something that I've been thinking kind of, I don't want to say about a lot because I don't really let myself think about anything that much. Like, I'll be like, okay, stop this. Like, but something that I've thought more about recently than I ever used to is like dating and the concept of dating. Because I mean, I'm on dating apps as a joke. Like, I don't really hang out with anyone on it or see anyone on it. Like, it's just kind of like a game I play. It's like smash pass, smash pass. And I like play it with my girlfriends, like, sitting behind the phone with me. But anyway, in general, I've said this a bazillion times. I was a serial dater when I was younger. I had a lot of friends that also were. And now I've been single for about a year exactly. And that's the longest I've been single since I was like 12, which is so concerning. But I love it, like, I love being single, so I just kind of wanted to get on here and, like, talk as someone who has kind of had both, like, I've had that relationship girl, like, where you're just, like, always in a relationship, but I've also, like, stepped back and been like, "Oh, like, I can do both." Because I feel like oftentimes when I personally meet people, they're like one or the other, and I think it's really important to be able to do both because it's like, if you condition yourself to thinking you're just, like, not a relationship person, then what happens when you get in a relationship? Like, you're just gonna psych yourself out and be like, "I don't know if I know how to do this," like, "I don't know if I can be loyal to someone," like, blah, 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 blah. Like, which if you don't wanna be loyal to them, then, like, don't date the fucking person, obviously, but, like, I think it's so important, especially to know how to be single, because I think dating people, it, like, kind of just comes naturally, and every relationship is so different. It's like, obviously, it's mutual if you guys are dating, there's a mutual feeling there, and then it kind of just builds upon itself, usually from a friendship, I would say, a lot of the time, but again, that's just something kind of, like, instinctual that humans figure out, like, who you're attracted to and, like, how you act around them and stuff, but being single and, like, knowing how to be single is something people don't actually know how to do, because here's my take on it, like, my psychoanalysis of why people don't know how to be single. I don't care what generation you're in. I don't care if you're X, Z, baby boomer. Here's what I think typically happens because we've all been there, or at least I have. When we are like ages 1 to like, like pre-middle school, like let's say we're like 10, 12, like right around the age where you could get into those premature relationships kind of before you're like an actual teenager. Just like in your youth, if that makes sense. Like your younger years, I feel like we are all pretty much ourselves. Like we're weird, we're kids for the most part. Like we're interested in whatever sport we're interested in. We're kids. So like when you're a kid, you're allowed to be weird and like not have your shit figured out because you're a kid. Like everyone does everything for you. People are cooking your dinner and making your bed. Like whatever. Some of us did have to grow up faster than others, but nonetheless, I didn't have any self-perception when I was like 10 because I don't think I even like knew what a conscious and subconscious was. And like I said, guys, like I consider myself a pretty smart young woman, but like I didn't really get educated on most things until I was in like high school. Like I was never socially inept or like unaware whatsoever. I think I've always been a smart kid, but education is just so important and so many people are still uneducated. But anyway, I think I was just happy to be here when I was younger, before we can have like any real like fights with like other people or relationship issues because we're like so young, you know what I'm saying? So it's I mean with our peers, obviously you can be born and have like father or mother issues. Like I'm not like that's a huge thing, don't get me wrong. But it's like you're not having that kind of like relationship dynamic with anyone yet where you're like intimate at all because who knows how to be intimate at like 10 years old. So anyway, that's a phase where you're just like, haha, hee hee, everything's kind of like whatever, and you're a kid. And I'd say that let's just put that up till like age 12. Like I got my first little fake boyfriend. Like obviously I don't consider this a real relationship, but I had my first like boyfriend in my mind that I like went and told my mom was my boyfriend when I was 12, like 7th grade or something. So anyway, let's just like mark it there. Like 0 to 12 years old, you're just like happy little kid, whatever. And then it's like probably like arguably the most important and transformational time in your life is going to be that kind of like teenager and like adolescent years where you're like 13 to like 21. You know what I'm saying? Like your brain's still developing. You can't legally drink yet, whatever. Not like that stopped any of us, but like you're growing, you're figuring out who you like, who you don't like. If you're into women, if you're into men, if you're into other types of people, if you're whatever, like what you like to do for fun, like who you are when your parents step out of the picture, when your friends from elementary aren't your friends anymore because they were just probably like your neighbors. Like when you make real relationships, when you have to go like put effort in and choose who you spend your time and energy on, I think that's when you kind of figure out like who your people are and what you want to do with your life. And by 21, I don't expect like anyone really to know what they want to do. If you do, that's great. I mean, like, I kind of do. I want to do like 30 different things though, but not the point. I'm just saying you are very like fragile and still like developing at those years in your life, like 13 through like 20 or whatever you want to call it. And I feel like that's also when you get into dating. So then that's the problem, guys, because it's like you are just haha blissful. Like, yes, you can have trauma. Yes, you can be an aged and old soul child. Like, God knows I was, but you still don't know everything. And you still don't know how to like date a man, how to date a woman, like, or not woman. Sorry. We're talking about like children. So yeah, like a girl or a boy, whatever. You don't know how to do that. And you're 14, you're 16. Like, fuck. These are such like precious and important years of your youth for you to be like focusing on yourself, figuring out what you want to do without anyone else's opinion conflicting with yours or like affecting your perspective. And I think that's why we all don't know how to be single, or we didn't for some time, because it's like every decision is made for you in those like premature years where you're like, 0 to 12 years old, let's say. Your mom's making your breakfast, your dad's tucking you in, you're waking up, you're getting on the bus, you can't drive yet, you might hang out with your neighbor. Like every day is pretty much the same. You don't have a lot of say in your life, and you don't really know who the hell you want to be because you don't even know anything. You don't have, a political perspective. You don't know what you stand for. You don't know what your values are. You just know that you like chicken nuggets and like your mom says you should be kind to people. You don't know anything. So then we get thrown into dating someone, and not thrown in. I mean, you make the decision, but still it's like you're getting thrown into like a fucking deep swell of an ocean, because it's like, where are you going? What are you doing? You don't know, because like again, I would consider myself a pretty smart woman and a pretty well-rounded child. I've always been told that. And I had no idea how to date someone at 14 years old. Are you kidding me? Like I definitely thought I did, and I definitely did compared to the boy I was dating at various times in my life. The boys, I guess. But I still didn't know a lot, and I didn't know shit about myself. And that's where it comes in too. It's like, how the hell do you know what you want in a partner? How to date someone, how to communicate with someone, how to go on a date, how to, interact with one another if you don't even know what kind of person you want to be interacting with, because you don't know the kind of person you are, the kind of people you attract, the kind of people you want to attract. The list just goes on and on, but we are like just like innately, because I guess, I mean, you know what, like 200 years ago, people were getting married when they were like 14, 12, like insane shit, like back in the 1800s or something. I'm even early 1900s. Like I think my grandma even got married at like 18 or 19. And so the generation before that, like shit, I'm 19 right now. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You catch me dead before I'm married, honestly. Don't, no, I'm not claiming anyone. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, like these societal like ties scare me. I'm like, ugh, marriage. It makes sense that people are dating when they're 15, right? Like 15, 17, who cares? Like, yeah, like you start dating around those ages. So you're still growing. You are still literally like have like 10 years of like brain development yet left. Left. You have so much time left for your body and brain to develop, and you're just throwing yourself into some relationship with someone else that also has no idea what's going on. So, I know, like, I don't know if you guys have ever thought about it that way, but I think it is kind of like blatant. It's like everyone knows that when you're that age, you don't know what's going on, right? Like, you're not a fully developed like adult that knows how to have a relationship, right? But then I'm like, do people know that? Because I feel like I didn't know that like at the time. And I don't know. I think my podcast audience is mainly young adults, I'm gonna guess. And obviously, some older adults like my family. Love you guys. If I could reach, like, any, like, one younger than me, like, that would be great too. Like, that's who this little snippet of this podcast episode is for, I guess, because my advice is just don't date that boy. Like, it's not that deep. It's like figure out yourself. And dating is completely normal, and, like, I get why people wanna do it. Like, for example, whenever I had boyfriends in middle school, I don't actually remember feeling, like, a huge tie to really any of them at all. It was always more like I was cool with them. Like, I was always kind of like, like, I can get along with you, whatever. Um, but, I thought they were cute, I guess. But it's like, I don't even know if I was going through like puberty yet. Like, I don't even know if I got horny, guys. Like, I'm dead ass. I'm like, I don't know how I would have known if I was attracted to a boy in seventh grade. Like, I don't really think I was. Like, I think I just thought they were good looking, but I don't remember having like the hormones even racing through my body yet. Like, so it was all just kind of a political stunt. Like, when I look back at it, it was just like who can get on the like cutest couples page, who looks the best together, who has a date to like the spring dance, who has a date to the spring dance, who's going to prom alone. Like, it's all about politics in like middle school, high school, I swear. And obviously, I think as you get to like actually be an adult in your older high school years, you can have some great relationships. I'm not completely shitting on like the relationships you have when you're like 17, 18. I'm just saying in general, people get really confused on how to like be single because they were busy dating people ages, whatever, 13 through 17. So then when you're 18, you're like, who the fuck am I? Because for 4 years, I've been occupied by another person's like values, thoughts, needs, intimacy. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, I was there. I was damn there. And I think the only reason that I even have a good grasp on who I am now, and I think I've had this grasp for a while, which like longer than I've been single. And it's because I think of the periods of singleness I had, honestly. Like, I don't know where I would have been if I really was just like hopping from man to man. Like, and I did, like, but I had some days off. No, I'm joking, not really. But I did have like periods where I was like single for like 6 or 8 months or something, like probably like twice in high school. Like not a lot. But I had like, almost 2 years probably equaled out like over the entire time from me being like 12 to 18. There was probably 2 years in those 6 years of worth of time that I was single, if you add it up, if that makes sense. I hope you guys get what I'm saying there. But in those little time periods, I would argue I was my most happy self. I was the most successful version of myself because guess what? You don't have to go to anyone for anything. You don't have to, and I'm not saying you should have to when you're in a relationship, but often it feels like you obviously like have that obligation because you're dating someone and you owe them that loyalty and that trust and that respect. So you feel the need to keep them in the loop or run your ideas past them, whatever. No, I don't like that. Like, I am way too independent for that. And the minute I found out that I could kind of do whatever I wanted, like once I like could drive and stuff, and I like had my own job, had some of my own money, and didn't have a boyfriend at one point, I was like, wait, this is like awesome. Like, I can just focus on myself, hang out with my friends all the time. Sure, I can like call a dude if I want one, but like whatever. And I kind of started just being like, when I wasn't with my friends, I wasn't with a boyfriend. I was alone. I was painting. I was making a new playlist. I was going to the gym. That's another thing. I got like very into my physical, like fitness and well-being, and that definitely benefited my like mental well-being and helped me kind of find like where I wanted to like be with myself in my life and like discover that I wanted to be a very like active person and that it helps me a lot mentally. That alone time, like that downtime, you have to take advantage of it. Like, that's what I'm doing right now. It is 4 p.m. on a Tuesday, and my best friend and roommate is at work. So she won't be home for another like 3 hours. And I'm going to cook us dinner and stuff tonight. But for the last 2 hours or so, I have just been hanging out, doing my chores, hanging out with the cats, like, just, like, not even really being on my phone and, reading, going on the porch. It's so important, and it's so taken for granted because I take it for granted all the time how important it is to know how to, like, be alone. Like, really, even now as someone who's been single for a year and, I've been in both worlds. I've been in the single world, I've dabbled in the hookup culture, and I've, like, been in the relationship world. I can tell you that alone time, it's just never been an easy thing for me because and I think it's so important, and that's why I'm also like, I really need to talk about this because I suck at alone time. Like, if you know me, even if you know me slightly, you don't even have to know me. I love people. Like, it's probably, like, top 2 passions is people. Like, it's up there. People and music. Like, just art. I would put art actually, like, people and art, all types of art, so that can encompass, like, several fields. So, like, physical art, digital art, music, photography. Sorry, getting on a tangent, but the bottom line is I can thoroughly enjoy my alone time. That's how I get this fucking podcast done because guess what? I cannot focus. I cannot edit a podcast with other people. And I would say I'm with other people like 90% of the time of my life. Like like if you like took the whole year and average it, I think I'm literally with people 90% of the time. And it's because I really am just like a people person. I love to talk. I love to help people. I love to create. I love to do things that just involve like community, like people, a group of people, like talking. Like, I mean, I can talk on this all day and that's great. But at the same time, then I have to edit it and like listen to myself talk. And I honestly don't like to listen to myself talk. Like when it's recorded, I think I've said that before on here, but after I edit it once, I'm like, "I'm cool." And listening to myself say all this stuff right now, cool. But I can't listen to it, like, as a full recording. I don't know why. I just, like, tweak myself out and overthink everything I say because it's anxiety, but I think another reason alone time is hard for me is because I always feel like I need to be doing something, and I can do things alone, but for some reason, I'm, like, more content when I'm doing it with other people. And I think it's because I feel like I'm, like, going and doing something. It's like, "Oh, I hung out with blah, 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 and did this." It's not just like I sat in my bed and read. It's like, "Oh, I went to Harper's house and we, like, read and sat outside." Whatever. Just sounds, like, more productive to me, and I think it's just, like, again, I feel so comfortable having someone else's company and just someone to talk to. I really enjoy that. Again, if it's a friend that doesn't drain my social battery because there's times where I totally do need to be alone. It's also probably because I genuinely don't like being sad ever. I'm, like, not a sad person, and that doesn't mean I've said this before, it doesn't mean sad things haven't happened to me. It doesn't mean I don't have trauma, like, I definitely do. It's just choosing, again, not to focus on them and to focus on the good and, like, all the good in my future and the ways that I'm blessed already versus the ways that, like, I'm not being blessed, you know? Like, it's just like, if you focus on the negative, I've said it before, that's all you'll see, and if you focus on the positive, you will just see more and more positive and every day. So, I'm very big on that, but it's also important to sit and acknowledge your feelings sometimes, and I don't like to do that. And at least I'm self-aware about it. So I think that's another thing is like I never want to be alone because then I'll actually have to process things that like happen to me. And it's just like I just don't want to think about it. Like I want to avoid it. And I think that's also why I like to be busy all the time. Even if it is alone time. Like if it's alone time, I'm podcasting, I'm doing laundry, I'm cleaning the house, I'm cooking, like I'm doing something productive regardless. But it is just like when I'm around other people, I'm not an emotional person, period, but especially publicly. Even if you're, like, my best friend, I'm just genuinely, like, not a crier. I kinda hate it sometimes, like, sometimes I'm just like, "Wow, I need a good cry," but I am just less inclined to be emotional when I'm around other people, and I am, again, a person that likes to be happy and not, like, emotional, so I think that's also why I love to just be around people all the time, and I think that I got a little bit off topic, but tying this back into, like, dating and relationships, I think I would always convince myself that life would be better with, like, a partner, which was always a boyfriend at my high school years. I was always with a boy, And I think I just convinced myself that that would make things better because I think I was also raised watching all of, like, like, High School Musical and, like, even, like, The Vampire Diaries and, like, Twilight and all these, like, lovey-dovey, like, boy-girl shows, and that's just kind of what I, like, loved. Like, I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And then I grew up and, like, realized, like, how men actually act and, like, they don't act like these men in the movies, most of them. So that dream quickly faded. But, I think I did just really care about my image as a young person as well. I love that I'm, like, as a young person and I'm 19, but when I was younger, like, high school, I think I did really want to appear like I had, like, the perfect couple or the perfect, like, you know, friend group, the perfect hair, the perfect body. Like, I definitely fell into all of that shit, and I'll admit to it any day. I think I still do now sometimes. I think everyone does. But now my social media, I can say, is a lot more authentic to who I am. I have all my notifications off on every platform. I really only post if it's genuinely, like, something I wanna post and I feel good about it. It's not like I time it out to see when people are on the app. I think I even turned my like counts off on most of my most recent Instagram posts, and I just very quickly realized that trying to put a fake perception of yourself out to the people that follow you online literally doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I think it also, like, helped me a lot to move all the way across the country after I graduated from high school, but it's like I don't talk to 95% of people I went to school with, and I just, like, don't care what they're doing either. Like, I wish them the best, like, it's not like a hate thing, it's not like I'm too cool for them, like, at all, it's just, like, a lot of people, like, I wish you the best, but, like, I just don't care. So it's like, why would they care, like, what you're I don't know, and again, I think that's really hard to grasp at a young age, like, when you are, like, middle school, freshman, sophomore in high school. I, again, was always with a boyfriend, I always wanted to look like the perfect couple, and even if that relationship was very unhealthy behind closed doors, I would never, ever admit to that until, the damage was said and done and we were done. And that is something hugely different in my character since some of the relationships I had as a young person is I just think I'm a lot more transparent, which is kind of weird for me to be saying because I thought I was transparent as a younger person. And maybe was for my age, but I just wasn't grown. I wasn't as educated. And I feel like I've always been an honest person, sometimes deemed like a mean person just because of how honest I am. And I think some people don't want to hear that. But I was not honest with myself for a long time. And that's what relationships will do to you because it's also like these people that you're dating oftentimes are manipulating you to think one way or another about your relationship or that it's good when it's like really not. And like, I don't know, I've like been in relationships before where I've been like, I think we should break up. Like, this is not healthy. This is not normal. And they'll like convince you it is. So that's something I could never be convinced of now, for example. Like, I have a very steady grasp on who I am, what my values are. If the person I'm with is, upholding my standards and meeting those values and requirements or if they suck, like, I can tell. I'm a huge believer in the phrase people show you exactly who they are. I don't really know how much of like a phrase that is. It's just like the truth. But if he wanted to, he would. I will say that all day, every day. And everyone, you can go make your excuses. Go make your excuses. I hear all the time, like, oh, if he wanted to, he would. Well, what if like he's just depressed and like insecure and his last girlfriend cheated on him? So like he's just too scared to show you love and like buy you those flowers and treat you well because his ex fucked him over. Shut up. Literally get off my podcast or change your mindset if you're listening to this because if you think like that, like if you think like that little bit I just did, because holy shit, no, 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 no. And again, believe whatever phrase you want to believe, but I'm telling you, if they wanted to, they would. Like at the end of the day, it's all about like priority because see, I could tell a story now. I can tell a story now. I'm about to tell the story. I'm about to tell the story. I don't think I've told this story on here yet, but it's just about like standards and it's not really about dating. It's not really about how people don't know how to be single. I guess it's rather that I know my worth now and I know the type of single person that I'm gonna be now. So we can reframe it to kind of that before I jump into this story. So, not that long ago, me and this boy that I thought was cool, whatever, we got along, had hung out a few times. We were going to hang out and like go get food together and yeah, have like a little date, I guess. I like hate saying that word because it's so like I'm just like I don't want to claim anyone. I don't know anyone. Like dating is so confusing. Trying to figure people out is so confusing. Like ugh. But anyway, we were just gonna like go on a little date, I guess, and then the time comes and he just like blows me off. Like I had like pulled up to the place and everything, and he was like, "Wait, I'm sorry, like blah blah blah, but can we reschedule? Like I'm still not done with this thing that he told me he was gonna be done with like literally 2 hours prior to this entire thing." And, like, I had just gone off, like, met him where we said we were going at the certain time, like, because 'cause I'm just a girl and I'm a planner, and he just, like, wasn't there. And then, like, kind of, like, just canceled and flaked and tried to reschedule. And this was probably the second time he's done it or something similar to this. So I was just like, "Mm-mm, nope, no, no, nope, no, 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 no." And it wasn't any hate to him. It wasn't even that he should take it personally. It's that my standards are very, very, very high. And if you've shown me even like the slightest disrespect or just like non-prioritization, is that a word? I don't know, like not being prioritized. Like he just didn't like put the effort in to see me like multiple times when I was putting in the effort to see him. And can I be honest? Like he was super cool, whatever. Like, I'm so cool with him. We don't talk, but like, wish him the best, whatever. It's not like I was that into him. Like, I'm just like another decent human being who like cares about knowing other people. So I was like trying to get to know him. Like, why not? I'm always down. So yeah. So then whenever this happened, I was literally like, what like, it's not even like, you had me really, like, reeled in. It's not like he did anything amazing to, like, get me, like, addicted to him or think that there was really something in him to find. Like, again, I think he's a great guy probably, but, yeah, it just wasn't working. And I also believe a lot in, like, signs from the universe and, like, divine timing and all of that. And this was a few months ago, and I'm still the same on this front. I am not looking for a relationship, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm not looking to be in one. I'm super happy with myself. I'm also very busy, just me and myself. So I'm cool not dating anyone, but I am always down to hang out and get to know people. And I never really make anything romantic out of it unless, that feeling is there mutually, like when we hang out and whatever. But the bottom line was this dude showed me exactly who he was. And yeah, he texted me and was like, "Can we reschedule? Blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "No." Like, well, actually, I didn't say no. I just didn't respond. Honestly, I ghosted him. And I'm sorry, but I am a ghoster. It's kind of a toxic trait of mine. And I wish I was better at it, honestly. I wish I was just like, I would just tell people shit to their face because I'm such a tell you shit to your face type of person. But it's like in that situation, when it's like a talking stage or like someone I'm not close with, like if you're my best friend, if you're my family, like, I'm gonna tell you shit to your face. I'm gonna be like, "Why did you do that? Don't date him. Oh, why are you dating him? He doesn't deserve you." Like really, I'm like brutally honest if I love you because I care about you. But it's like if it's just these people that I'm not that close with, I'm just gonna be like, "Okay, not worth my time." It's not even like I'm trying to ghost. I just really am not on my phone that much, and then like they are just not the person I'm gonna text, if that makes sense. So the bottom line of the story is after like spending time single and getting treated right and wrong by many different dudes, um, I like realized exactly like what I will stand for and what I won't stand for because there is someone out there. I don't know who the fuck needs to hear this because this is another thing I could talk about all day. Mm. If your man or woman, but I'm just a man hater, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love the men that listen to this podcast though, but if you're just like a Lana Del Rey man if you listen to this podcast, but like the average like man, like scary like man, like no. But even man or woman, if they're cheating on you, leave them. Leave them. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if they said they change, if it was like an accident, if they were drunk. Like that's not a fucking excuse. I mean, it is an excuse, but like it's not an excuse. Like that's not okay. Like what? I just don't know how many times I'm gonna have to say it, but there's someone out there that will treat you the fucking way you want to be treated. And I personally remember being in relationships where I thought the person was treating me good. So I'd be like, "Oh, well, I know they cheated on me, but like I can't leave them because they treat me so good in every other way. And like, no one's ever gonna love me like this." And they probably told me that too. Like this boy I dated was probably like, "No one will ever love you like me." No one will ever treat you as good as I do, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, that was put in my head. I didn't put that in my fucking head. Are you kidding me? And then ended up breaking up with those people. And then I've dated someone who literally made me feel like the prettiest princess on earth. And that's how everyone deserves to feel all the time. So I don't care if you think that that man or that woman is your one and only. Your one and only isn't second guessing who they're with and cheating on you, babe. So yeah, pretty much once you learn how to be single and just like take that energy that you were putting towards all these relationships for years and put that energy towards yourself, you will be so much more content with yourself. And then it's like when you do find someone, if you do, there's no rush, but if you do happen to like date someone after being single for a while, you'll know that they are at least, doesn't mean they're the one, holy shit, but they're at least way better for you than the last person because you took that time off to be like, who do I want to attract? What am I looking for in a partner? What will I put up with? What won't I put up with? So, unless this person is marking all of your box, I don't. So, unless this person is marking all of your boxes, I don't see why you'd be with them. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I just kind of think that again, as someone who has a recovered serial dater here, um, I think it's important to emphasize how being single can be so good for you and so fun and so beneficial to like your life in every way. And so many people don't experience it or don't experience enough of it, and they just get really tied down in a bad relationship at a young age. And I hate seeing that because then it's like when you're in a bad relationship at a young age, that's another thing I could talk about. You're young. So, like I said earlier, where it's just like all happy giggle fest, like ages 0 to 12, and then it's like you're actually developing. You're developing, and you just came from happy giggle land where your parents like made your bed and made your dinner. Like, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's right and what's wrong. So, you're probably getting treated like shit. Like you don't know how this boy is supposed to act. You don't know that it's not normal that, he's telling you he's going to kill himself over you. Like, no, guys, I'm like literally sorry. Like me and the girls know, like been there, done that, had that really traumatic relationship. And yeah, it's just like, I feel like being single is almost frowned upon sometimes. And not like in general, people are like, ooh, you're single. Like, ooh, that sucks. It's not like people innately think being single is wrong, but I feel like it's like when you're in a relationship and then you guys like break up. Like I think breakups are innately bad, people would say, which again, listen to my podcast episode on how outgrowing people is normal. I think breakups are awesome and so necessary. Yes, the growing pains can be a lot. It can be very sad. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a lot of emotions involved and that you shouldn't, have your emotional turmoil and like take your time off because you totally should. And it's so normal to feel upset. But it is also normal to not stay where you are not growing anymore. Somewhere where you feel like you have just hit your fucking limit and it doesn't feel right anymore. That means it's time to grow, sis. So I just want to normalize like the benefits of being single. And if you're someone that's listening to this and you're in a toxic relationship or not even toxic, like maybe it's just not like you don't think it's right anymore. Um, Please, like, I don't know. Like, and that might be a small percentage of people, but I just know I've been one of those people before. And I think it's so important to just like throw out there that as scary as it is at first, like I get it. I get it 1,000%. I remember being so scared when I would like go through a breakup and I'd be like, I don't want to fucking learn someone else's, love language, body, favorite color, favorite meal, favorite restaurant, their dog's name. I don't want to go through that. And I still feel that way. That is really annoying. But guess what? That's really fun. That's really fun if you're not thinking about it in like a breakup way. Because when you're thinking about it in a breakup way, you're like, I already know everything about the person I'm with and I already have them. Everything's already established. I know their family. I've been with them for years. We know where we want to live. We're going to go to the same college, like yada, 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 yada. But then it's like, this breakup comes in and you're just like, no, like, no, like a breakup can't be blah, 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 blah. Like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Like, like, obviously, in that situation, you're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm so sad. I don't wanna throw all of this away or lose all of it to a breakup, and I already knew everything about this person, and now I have to go rebuild." That's the mindset that a lot of people have, right? Whenever they're first considering or going through a breakup. But then it's like, if you take away the breakup situation from this little scene right here, just add like you're single and cool and you're looking for someone to date. You get to go learn someone's favorite color. You get to meet their dog. You get to learn new things about new people. That's fucking awesome. Okay. I've never thought about it that way because again, I and Miss has had like 5 boyfriends. I was always like, oh my God, like I love his family. I love his sister. I love his dog. Like blah, 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 blah. And I did, and I do. And like, all love to everyone. But it's like, okay, you think you can't go have another great relationship, you know, to like add to your timeline, add to your like life memories. Because again, I'm a huge people person. So I think one of the main like life's treasures is meeting people, just like having a bunch of different relationships. Some are better than others, I'm sure, but just getting to experience people and different kinds of people. Like, I'm best friends with a million girls my age, but I'm also best friends with some girls that are in their older 20s. My aunt who just turned 30, my aunt who just turned like 45. I'm best friends with my grandparents, but I love some of my friends' moms as well. I love a lot of my coworkers that are like 50. Like, I just love like different ages, different dynamics, like friend, boyfriend, my friend's boyfriend, like us all being cool. Like I want to meet everyone's cousin. Like I don't know, I'm just like a networker in like a social, like lovable way. Like I'm just like, if there's another soul out there that I could love, bring it this way, because I think people also just need a lot of love, and I don't mean any of this in a romantic sense. Of course, if that happens, that happens, but I'm just like, if I can bond with your little sister, I'd love to meet your little sister. You know what I'm saying? Like, just random shit like that. Life is literally just about experience. And it's like, how do you know what you want if you only have one experience? Huh? Hmm? Huh? That's why I literally don't understand how people have like one relationship and marry that person. Like the people that get a boyfriend when they're like 13 and then they get married when they're like 19. I'm like, so I mean, unless they really like, if they took a break or something and like had their time to fuck around somewhere, like, okay, I guess, whatever. It still would have been short lived. But no, the people that are like literally just together and just seeing each other for like 6 years, I would argue that 95% of the time it's religious. But still, I'm like, guys, like even as someone that has hooked up with multiple people in my life, I am still like, there's still so many other people that exist in the world that could hook up with me differently, or like not even like physically. Like we could like link on a different spiritual level. Like they could have a different talent that I didn't know that I could learn or that I thought was cool. Like, I don't know. I'm just a very like optimistic ass person. And I don't know. It's just dating gets so serious. So that's why I just wanted to come on here while I'm having my alone time today, and probably like the only alone time I'll have this week, because I'm not kidding. That's literally how I function. I'm always running around doing something with someone, and I love it. I honestly love it, but I also like need to learn to process my emotions. But that's another podcast. So I don't know. I think it's just awesome to come on here and be like, love yourself first, because that's been my fucking motto. If you guys follow me on Instagram, that was my bio for literally like 3 years, was love yourself first. Now I swear it's just something about my podcast and a Mac Miller quote that's like also about self-care. But anyway, but yeah, I guess I just want to end this podcast on a positive like little note. So kind of on topic of what we were discussing today. I just think that a lot of people get hopeless way too easy. And whether that's in life or in a relationship or your relationship with yourself, like your self esteem, any category, just don't lose hope. And that's not even on like, how like people have like faith, like religious hope. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like hope in general for things. I'm not religious. I've said it before. I'm spiritual, but um I'm not saying have hope for that relationship where that person treats you like shit. That's not what I'm saying at all. If you listen to the last 41 minutes of this podcast, you would know that that's not what I'm saying, and you should break up with that person by this point. But I'm saying, you know, there is just so much hope to be had. And like, yes, I see in this world, it's very dark, it's scary. I'm a young woman in this world. I fucking get it more than like a lot of groups of people, I'm sure. But I just think that a positive outlook is always important if you can have one. And I feel like I had so much doubt whenever I was in toxic relationships that there was someone better for me or that I would be okay on my own or that I could find myself being single. Like, who am I without a boyfriend? Who am I without this stable connection to someone? Like, who am I when I'm alone with myself and my thoughts? And that used to be so scary to me. And now I kind of make a little power out of it. Like, I make a podcast and I'm fucking self-aware, and yes, I could sit down and process my emotions more, but, work in progress. We're all works in progress, but again, I used to think that I would never have a better relationship than the awful relationships I had when I was 16 years old, and I've had so many better relationships, not even romantically, but just platonically. Like, I have met some of the best people ever in the last few years, and it's just kind of like to show that there's so much more for everyone. And again, I would argue a large amount of my viewers are young adults, and we are so young. Like, experience people, like, be fluid with yourself. Like, I literally know some of my friends that like have like two girlfriends or like two girlfriends and a boyfriend, and I'm like, cool, whatever. Like, I don't even care. I don't even care. If that's what makes you happy, that's what makes you happy. Like, dating doesn't have to be conventional. Don't hop into it. Don't rush into it. Take time to get to know people. I also always love to say, like, go into it just like you're meeting someone. Like, there should never be like romantic intent. Like, even if you met someone on like Tinder, like Hinge, like, I get it. Like, you met them on a dating app. So, like, obviously, like, you swiped right for a reason, right? But you don't know them. Like, so until you know someone, their ins and outs and how they operate as a human, don't commit yourself to them. Don't put yourself with them. Don't claim them. Um, I don't know, just get to know yourself. And once you get to know yourself, I think it helps you get to know your surroundings and kind of read those around you better and attract people who are a better fit for your life. And I literally have like scientific proof for that because I feel like ever since I've been very genuine with myself and my intentions, I have attracted just the most amazing people. Not that there wasn't a dud here and there. Obviously, there's been a person here and there where I've been like, oh, whoop, nope, 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 like, I won't see you after this meeting. Like, but sorry, guys. Sometimes I just get way too like, ooh. But the bottom line is someone is going to love you the way that you keep loving other people. So for now, give that love to yourself. Give it to yourself. Stop giving it to your ex. Stop giving it to your boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever that's cheating on you. Like, I'm done seeing that shit. Like, I'm gonna say it right now for like my like 50 listeners. I literally know too many girls that I went to high school with that are still with a man that is cheating on them. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I actually can't fathom it. So anyway, guys, please know your worth because as someone that is just a huge like human rights, like people, like women's like advocate, I literally just want to give you all a personal podcast, like a personal therapy session. So please send me feedback if you enjoyed this podcast episode. I hope you guys took something good away because it was kind of random, just kind of us sitting here and talking. So I hope that you all are having a great week so far, and I hope you get some alone time, just like I had right now to talk to you guys. So it's been very good for me to kind of just get this off my chest and reflect. And I think it could be very helpful to some people out there. So have an amazing rest of your weekend and be kind to yourself and one another. Bye.